discussed. So before I go into the next concept, do you have any questions to ask me related to that? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Chaitanya, we are.
Yeah. So can you please let me know what are the concepts that we have covered in the last session? Yes. Okay. So in which ways, those who are joined to the new session, okay, newly to this session, yesterday we have a first demo. We completed the first demo, and this is the second demo that we are going to continue. So in the first demo, we completed the concept of understanding what is the software development lifecycle and how we are going to work with the software development lifecycle, how applications is deployed, and what is the necessity of going with the Terraform. So these are the concepts that we have seen. Now let me go with the another content that we are going to discuss, that is Docker and Kubernetes. And in the last session, I clearly explained you about what is the complete syllabus of Docker and Kubernetes, Terraform and Jenkins. So today we will discuss about why we need this Docker and Kubernetes. What is the necessity of going through this Docker and Kubernetes? So I want you to be more interactive. I don't want my students to be sitting silent and I don't know, maybe this is online, so I cannot see what you are doing. So that's why I want you to be more interactive to me. So I want the more responses from you. Okay. So yeah, can you please confirm me about that? Will you provide the responses for me, or else do I need to go silently with the students?
Yeah, we will.
No, we will
Everyone.
interact.
Right, that's what my requirement is all about. But any which ways, coming back to the point, why? Because whenever the student keep on interacting with the faculty and whatever the topics that we have covered, or else whatever the topics that we are covering, at least if he is interacting with the faculty or else the trainer will understand that okay, he is getting some point. Or else if he is interacting and telling that I am unable to understand what you are saying, at least I can try to repeat the concept, at least by giving a certain example, so that you will be able to understand the questions. I don't want you to sit silently in the session. Okay. In which ways, coming back to the point.
Chaitanya, I have one doubt. Yeah, and today you said about Docker and Kubernetes. I'm okay with that. What is the what is the order you are going to following? First, you will start with Terraform or with the Docker?
First, it will be Terraform, and then we will go with Docker and Kubernetes, and finally, we will combine all the tools with the help of Jenkins.
Is that order is okay? Because as far as I hear that first to learn Docker Kubernetes, the last would be the Terraform. As far as I hear that.
No, it's not like there is a hierarchy for learning the Terraform. Terraform is a separate tool. There is nothing is interconnected with Terraform here. Okay. So in Terraform, we can use the code to generate the EKS cluster also. Okay. So first of all, concentrate on Terraform, and then we will go with the Docker and Kubernetes, and finally we will combine all the concepts together with the help of Jenkins. So Jenkins CI/CD pipelining tool will help us to create the infrastructure, and in the infrastructure we will try to create the cluster with the Kubernetes, and we will manage the cluster with the help of GitOps. Okay, manage the applications with the help of GitOps inside the Kubernetes. Is it clear?
Okay.
Right. So now the first and foremost thing what we are going to discuss here is, okay, let us go back to some 5 to 10 years, like almost like 2010. Okay, so if you go back to 2010, do you have this concept of containerization? Do you know what is a Docker in 2010? Like there are somewhere like there are the developers who are working from 2010. So might be you will be having some 15 years of experience, 20 years of experience, and there will be the trainees who are attending to the sessions. They might have at least 10 years of experience into the IT industry. From when you are hearing the word called as Docker, Docker or container, previously how we used to create the application, previously how we used to install the application and run the application.
I think we use Tomcat for application server Tomcat.
Tomcat, that is for the front end. Front end as well as the application also. That's fine. No, I'm not asking about what are the applications that you are using. I'm asking about how we used to install the applications. So you are a developer, you can say that who are the developers? The developers will simply say that I don't know how we are installing the application. That is the part of system administrators or else the persons who are taking care of the servers. But before that, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard about this sentence in your IT world, like in the IT world? It works in my laptop, then why it is not in yours? It works in my laptop, why it's not in yours? Have you ever said that, or else did anybody said that to you? It works in my laptop, why it's not why it is not in yours, or else why it is not working in yours laptop? So for example, our Hariharan has developed an Java application. Okay, so a Java application was developed, and he has developed with the help of like in his laptop, Java in his laptop. And when he developed the application in the laptop, it is working fine. So he has created all the dependencies. For example, that application will running on the version Java 17. So that's fine. He has created that by taking all the dependencies, and he has written a beautiful pom.xml file with the help of Spring Boot application. He has developed that, and it's worked fine. It is working fine in his mission. But when he tried to run that application in, for example, he gave that application to Abhishek. Okay, he gave the application to Abhishek. Now in Abhishek mission, that particular application may not be working fine. That particular application, the app in Abhishek mission is not working fine. May know what might be the primary reasons for this? What might be the primary reasons? First and foremost thing is environment. What is the environment that Hariharan may be using? That environment cannot be used by the Abhishek. And the second will be compatibility. Compatibility issues related to the versions. So Abhishek might have Java version 11 and Hariharan is developing the application on Java 17. Maybe that will impact the application starting. Okay, so that might not work in what I can say Abhishek's laptop. So now, whatever the primary reasons that you are saying, so they are very, very important for us. So we don't have a proper environment. In one laptop, there will be a proper environment. In the another laptop, there won't be that would not be a proper environment. For example, so you invited your friends to a party in your home, and you have prepared a very delicious food, and you served it to your friends. And one among the friend has asked you that, so the food is so delicious and it's very tasty. I want to prepare that food in my home. So then you will give that food recipe to your friend. So what is the amount? What is the quantity of each and every substance, or else each and everything that you have to put in that food? You will give the complete detailed recipe. So when you give the complete detailed recipe, he will go to his home and he will try to create that food. But when he tries to create the food might not be that much delicious as you prepared. So whenever you are preparing, the food is very, very tasty. But when he tried to prepare that food, it is not coming like that. So there might be certain failures are occurring. Why? Because the environment which you are creating is very good, and as well as the portion of the objects or portion of the ingredients that you are putting into the food is exact, so that the taste of that particular food whatever you have prepared is very, very nice. But when he tries to do that, the portions may differ, or else the environment may be differing, or else the ingredients which he might try will vary. Okay, so these are all the reasons so that the food might not come properly. So he will come back to you and say that whatever the recipe that you have given, I have followed the recipe, but unfortunately the food won't came good as tasty as you have created. Then you will say that no, it is the same. Whatever I am preparing, I gave you the same recipe. So why means he might not be using the same ingredients. In the same way, in your laptop, you might be using an advanced operating system. I mean, an advanced environment, an advanced software. You might be using those to run that application. But in your friend's laptop or else in the servers, the applications will not be like the same. So there will be certain servers which are running the older version of applications. Previous applications will be running. So if I want to upgrade that, so it cannot be possible. Why? Because I have to take down all the application and install the new applications. So this is a very big deal for me. So to overcome this problem, what I have to do? So when you come back to our example, to overcome this problem, what I will do here is, don't worry about the food. What I will do here is, I will pack the entire food for you inside a container, inside a tiffin box, nothing but a container. I will pack the food, and as well as I will give the each and every portion of food in a clear cut manner. And I will put that dependency, whatever the dependencies, everything in the box and submit it to you. And you prepare the food with that. So now this time what happens? Now whatever the portion of the ingredients that you have given, it is there inside the container. And whatever the recipe that you have given, so everything he has followed, then obviously he is going to get the same taste. So this is how what we are going to do. Whatever the application that we are creating, if we have to lively install that application on my machine, that application might not be running in the another machine. But what I am going to do here is, I am going to pack that entire application into a form of an image, whatever the dependencies that are related to that application. For example, if I want to run a Java application, or else I want to create an application which will have 2 or 3 microservices, in which you will be having the user login, and then you will be having certain like e-learning website I want to design. Then user login is there, and courses will be there, and user feedback should be there. So these are the 3 microservices which I want to put in that particular application. So when I develop the application in my laptop, the application might work, but in the another laptop, the application might not work. But what I can do here is, I can containerize that application, which means that I am going to pack that application with all its dependencies and all the required environment into a single form of an running process, yes, into a single form of a process called as a container, and that container will run the application. And this container can be converted into a form of image. So now what I'm trying to explain you here, we can pack the application and its dependencies into a process called as container. And once we created the container, this container can be converted as an image, and this image you can run. This image can be running in any environment. So not only in your laptop, but in our laptop also, it is going to give you the same output. Why? Because it is having all the ingredients, like whatever the requirements and everything is there, that will be there. So we are not going to install the application on the server or else on the laptop. We are simply going to run the application in the form of a container, and that container we are going to use to create the same container in the another server. Just to make you understand this concept clearly, let me show you one thing. I'm going to use my Docker. Okay, I'm going to use my Docker to run the containers. Okay, this is my Docker desktop. In the Docker desktop, I am having an application, or else I am having an image. So this is my Chaitanya Manikumar. This is what my requirement, Chaitanya Manikumar, Java app version 11. So with the help of this particular image, I am going to create a container. Let me show you that. It might be a little bit overwhelming for you. Why? Because you are just starting the sessions. So I'm just showing that. So in this particular Windows laptop, I am not going to install anything. I will be having my source code, and that source code is, with the help of that source code, I have created this particular image. Whatever you are seeing here, Chaitanya Manikumar Java app version 11. This image is created, and inside this image, we will have the source code to run that particular application. So Docker run -itd -name count app is the container name and the images, and I want to expose it on the port number 5600:5600. What is this exposure? Everything we will understand once we go into the Docker, but I just want to show you how containers will be working in my laptop. Okay, so Chaitanya Manikumar /Java app version 11. So here you can see a container got created. So now if you can see Docker PS, we have the container running. If you want to check out in the graphical manner, let me go back to the containers. Inside that, the count tab container is running. So if you want to check out the output here, what I can do, localhost 5600. If you can see, I'm getting the output from this container. For example, if I stop the container, Docker stop count tab. Count app. So when I stop the container, I will not get the response. I'm going to get request timeout. So now you can clearly understand that whatever the application, whatever the container that we are running, so the application is coming from that particular container. So if I start it again, Docker start count app. Okay. Now the same container which I am running in my Windows environment, I want to run it in my Linux environment. Okay, so here, if you can see, whatever the Java that is installed on my Windows environment, what is the Java version? Java version. It is Java version 17. Okay, so now my container is not at all connected to my Windows operating system. That is what I'm trying to explain you here. It is not at all connected to my Windows operating system. So now the source code, whatever the source code that I have written, that is written in Java 11. So let me show you that. Here you can see, this is the source code for that particular application. Now, when I go with the pom.xml, look at that. What is the Java version? The Java version which I was using here is Java 11. Okay, so that's the main motto. So what is the meaning of this? Even though in my laptop, if I am running Java version 17, I am not using my laptop environment. I am creating a container and running the container on my Docker instance. What is the meaning of that? So for example, if you are having an hardware, on the top of the hardware, you will be having the operating system, which is your Windows or Linux operating system. On the top of that, what we are going to do here is we are going to install the Docker application. On the Docker application, the containers will be running. So inside this container, our application will be running. Whatever the Java application is there, that will be running. So inside this, what you are going to have, you will have the Ubuntu or else any environment, any Linux environment. And then whatever the dependencies are there, every dependency will be created. So OS environment. I'm not saying that we are going to install the OS, but we are going to use the OS environment. OS will have the binaries and libraries. Those binaries and libraries will be used inside the container. Okay, so we will have the OS environment, and then we will be having all the dependencies. Okay, what are the dependencies that are required to run this particular application? Those dependency will be there inside that particular container. Now, if I want to show you, let me go inside the container. Okay, Docker PS Docker execute -it count app and bash. So I'm inside the container. So if you see Java -version, see that previously the prompt is C user Chaitanya. Now the prompt is here you can see root @ and you can see the container ID, which means that I am currently inside the container. So whenever I am executing the Java -version, it is showing that the Java version installed inside the container is version 11.0.16. So this version is helpful for running the application, or else PS-EF. If you can see the process, inside the process also, it is going to show you that the application is running. Okay, so this is about your actual containerization process. Okay, so inside that you will have the containers, and the containers will be running, and these containers will help you out to run the multiple application depending on the multiple and run times. So right now I'm running a Java application. In the same system, I can run the Python application. In the same system, I can run the .NET application. You need to understand the point here is we are not running on the operating system. So now what is this? This is my computer hardware, and here you will have the OS. On the top of that, you will be having the what is this? Docker. On the top of that, we are going to run the containers. So here we don't have anything to do with the operating system. So this operating system, we are not going to install the application on the operating system. This application will not be running on the operating system. This application will be packed and will be running inside the container. And this container will provide the output of the application on the browser. Whatever the browser output that you are seeing here, that will be coming out from the container itself. So this is about the containers. Okay, so we will see very in deep into this, but the main point what you need to understand here is how containers are working. And these containers and Docker is nothing but a software virtualization kind of thing. So there are two types of virtualizations. One is the hardware virtualization and the other one is the software virtualization. We'll come to know about that, what is meant by software and what is meant by hardware virtualization. Okay, but simply if I have to say, to overcome all the tough times whatever we are facing with the physical server, we are going with the containerization platform. This is what I want to say. Now once I have this container and I am going to run the same container in my AWS environment also. So in North Virginia region, I am having a Docker server here. I'm having the Docker server. So I can run the same container. So now I can pack the container and move it to Docker Hub. From the Docker Hub, I can use the image to run the container in the another system also. So let me show you that. So I'm going to start it over here. So this is a Linux environment. Here we are having the Windows environment. So whatever the application that is running on the Windows environment, it is completely independent of operating system. So the only thing what you need to understand here is we will have a container. Inside the container, it will be running. So simply if I have to say, for example, if I open this particular browser, so in the Google Chrome browser, if I open the tab, whatever the AWS related tab, so it can be opened in the Windows operating system and also in the Linux operating system and also in the Mac operating system. So there is no limitation that this particular tab will be opened, or else this particular web application will be opened only on Windows. This particular web application will be opened only on Linux. Okay, so wherever you want to open, you can open it. So for this, as we don't have any dependency, in the same manner, whatever the application that you are running inside the container, that doesn't have any dependency with the operating system. Okay, so that is the main point what you need to understand. Which operating system? Again, you will get confused here. Which operating system? The host operating system on which the Docker is installed. Nothing to do with this host operating system. Okay, so do you understand the concept here? Any questions? I'm talking continuously. Do you have any questions? What did you understand from last? It might be somewhere like 25 minutes. What do you understand from the topic? Yes, guys, you didn't understand anything.
No, we understand actually. I understand actually. You install the Docker and on top of it, you create the images and you make a container in the Windows. And you're saying that irrespective of Java version, whatever the application has the version of Java, that only the container runs irrespective of the host machine Java version.
Exactly. So that is what you need to understand here. Irrespective of your operating system, we don't need to worry about which kind of operating system that we are using. So we can run the application anywhere. Okay. One second, guys. Okay. And the next one is, let me log on to this server. I just want to prove it out. So I'm logging into the server. I will tell you how to log on to this if you don't have any understanding about this. Okay, sudo su hyphen. Then here you can see Docker images. Okay, Docker run hyphen itd hyphen name Java app and hyphen p 5600:5600, and with the help of the image Chaitanya Manikumar / Java app version 11. So if I give this, automatically an image will be created. I mean, an image will be pulled, and with the help of that image, it is going to create a container. So Docker PS, here you can see we are having a container running. Java app container is running. So for example, if I go back here and let me copy the public IP address of the server, and on the port number 5600, the container is running. So if you can see, in the instance also, in the server also, I'm able to run the same application. So can you please try to access this? I'm putting this in your chat box. Try to access this and let me know whether are you able to access it or not. You can access that URL and let me know, are you able to access it or not? Is the application is available for you or not? I just gave you the that particular URL in the chat box. Can you please confirm me out that? Yeah, you are able to access it, which means that try to understand in a clear-cut manner. So I prepared an application in my system. This is my client system where I prepared my application and I tested the application. The application is running fine. Okay, so now what I have done, I converted that application. I mean, I written as a containerized application, or else I converted the application into an image, and I just moved that image into the Docker Hub. I just moved this particular image into the Docker Hub, which will be having the application. So what is this Docker Hub? You will understand slowly. And whatever the image that is available in the Docker Hub, what I have done, I copied the image and I just ran that particular image on my server. So this is what happens in your day-to-day activity. So whatever you are developing the application, this is the development environment. So if the application is successful in the, I mean, whatever you have written, if you think that the application is ready, good to go. So in the development environment, then that application will be sent to the testing phase. And whenever the tester says, confirms that the application is okay, it is ready to go to the production. So then what we will do, we will run that application on the servers. So when we run the application on the servers, we will make it available for the entire world. So that is what happened here. So we prepared it and we send it to the Docker Hub. From the Docker Hub, we install it on our server and we expose the application to the entire world. So with the help of that, what you can do, you can access the application. This is what you are going to do in your day-to-day life whenever you are working as a developer. Now that's about the basic understanding about the Docker. So what is this Docker and what is meant by container? Now, when you go back into the concept of Kubernetes, what is this Kubernetes? What it is going to do with the containers? Let me ask you a question. I mean, I think so. At least if you are married. So if you are having a very small kids in your home, like 2 to 3 years or 4 years kids, will they manage themselves, or else someone should be there to manage those kids? In your home, if you are having some 4 to 5 years of kids are there, at least 3 to 4 years of kids are there, will they manage by themselves, or else someone has to manage them? Or else let me say that if they are infants, then
We have to manage it.
you have to manage, you have to monitor them every time. You have to monitor them what they are doing. Some people will be there, some kids will be there who are very what I can say, mischief. So what they will do, they will put they will take their hands near to the current plugs, or else they are going to throw out the remotes, everything. So we need to be very cautious and we need to be very careful what the kids are doing. So which means that we need to continuously monitor those kids. and we have to manage them. So in the same manner, whatever the containers that we are creating in our Docker environment, containers are like kits. Okay, so when the heavy load is applied on the container might get terminated. Heavy load means inside the container, what we will have? Inside the container, what we are going to have?
Application.
We will be having the application, right? So initial stages, the application won't be that much popular. Once the application is popular, then think of the load. So heavy load will be applied onto the container. For example, suddenly heavy load is applied onto the container might get terminated or deleted. So again, if the container is terminated, then the application will not be available for the end customer, so that they are going to respond you. I mean, they are going to call to the customer care, or else they are going to provide the bad reviews. And then what is going to happen? The application will lose its what I can say value. Okay, in the market, it is going to lose its integrity and value. So I don't want to happen. I don't want that to be happen. So for that, what I have to do, I have to run the applications continuously 24/7. The application should be running. So to do so, what I can do here is I can use a tool called as Kubernetes. Okay, what is this Kubernetes? Kubernetes is a managing tool or also a monitoring tool that will manage your containers. It's not a monitoring. I cannot say it's a monitoring tool. It's an orchestration tool. So have you ever went to an orchestra music concert? Did anybody went to that? So when you go to the music orchestra, so there will be a person who will be holding a stick, and he is going to wave his hands for the musicians. He is called as an orchestrator. What is the work of the orchestrator? He has to tell to the musicians about the which one will be the high note and which one will be the low note, how to play the instruments and everything. He will be giving the instructions by standing beside them. So in the same manner, Kubernetes is also an orchestration tool, which is an orchestrator, which is going to manage all your worker containers. So whatever the worker containers that you are having, whatever the containers that are running with the application, so it is going to monitor all the containers. Suddenly, if the container is behaving something odd, so it is going beyond the resource limit. So then it can limit the. So you have to consume this much amount of resources only, this much amount of CPU only, this much amount of RAM only. So we can use the resource quotas in the Kubernetes, so that the application will not be overwhelmed or else overutilize the resources. And not only that, I want to check whether the container is running or not. So for that, I can use Kubernetes probes. And I want to provide the data permanently. I want to store the data permanently. Then I can use persistent volumes and persistent volume claims. And not only that, there are so many other features that are involved into your Kubernetes, which you will be coming to know whenever we go into the Kubernetes concepts, like workload components, pods, replica sets, deployment, stateful sets, daemon sets. And when you come to the services like cluster IP, node port, load balancer, and then external name, headless services, and ingress controllers. And then we can go through a concept called as what I can say, RBAC rules. So like that, we are be having so many different kinds of processes, or else different kinds of controllers that we are going to use in the Kubernetes. You will come to know about those things when you go into the in deep of Kubernetes. Okay, so simply with what I have to say here, containerization is a platform, or else it's a application where you can pack your application and run that application inside the containerization, or else inside the containers. And these containers are going to be managed by your Kubernetes. So simple way. Now, when you see here, what is the pipeline that we are going to approach, that we are going to go ahead with the process? What are the process that we are going to follow? So now in the basics, what I am going to train you here is, we'll be going through Git. Okay, Git is not included in your syllabus, but I am going to tell you basics of Git. Okay, what is meant by Git, what is meant by Git staging, Git commit, local repository, remote repository, and then how you can push and pull the code from the remote repositories. That's it. Apart from that, I'm not going to go with very in-deep analysis of merge, Git branching, reset and revert. These are all the concepts we are not going to discuss. Anyways, I am going to tell you about the Git branching also. There is some portion of Git branching is necessary. So now what I will do here is, why we are going for the Git that I will tell you here. So we are going into the Git. So I will be writing the code. Which code? I am going to write the Terraform code in my local mission. In my local mission, I will be writing the Terraform code. And I will upload this Terraform code into my GitHub. So whenever I am uploading this, at least you need to have a basic understanding about the Git. So I will try to explain you about the Git. And later what I will do here is, from the Git, I will try to, or else I am going to implement the Terraform. Okay, so this Git is not necessary. Directly from my local mission, I can run the code itself. But why I'm telling you, because in the future, it might be helpful for you. So I'm telling you. So I'm going to include the Terraform here. Okay. And whatever the infrastructure that we have created with the help of Terraform, we are going to run the servers. That is nothing but the Docker servers, and as well as the Kubernetes servers. Docker, and we will use the servers for running the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, all these can be, whatever the Kubernetes cluster and whatever the Docker and Terraform, all this can be managed with the help of Jenkins. Okay, finally, we will be including the Jenkins and writing the CI/CD pipelining tool, so that what is going to happen, whatever the, so here in the Git, what I can do, not only Terraform code, I can use certain Java code also. I'm going to write an application in the Java language. I will tell you in the final, in the final project. Okay, so I will write certain Java code. So I'm not very good developer. Again, I'm telling you, I'm not a developer at all, but I know the basics of this coding. So I am going to write this Java, and whatever the application that has been developed in the Java, I will be pushing this source code into the GitHub. And what Jenkins pipeline is going to do, whenever there is a change in the Java code, automatically it is going to trigger the webhooks, and with the help of webhooks, automatically the application will be created in the Kubernetes. So this is how the Jenkins is going to work it out. Okay. So here we comes with Jenkins. So this concept we are going to discuss in the at the end of the project. But to learn about that, you need to understand each and everything from the core. What is meant by Terraform, what is meant by Docker, what is meant by Kubernetes, what is meant by Jenkins from the core. So tomorrow we will start the Terraform configuration, how we are going to work with the Terraform, and how we are going to work with the Git, and what is meant by Git, and how we can run the version control in the, distributed version control, how to initialize the Git, and how to run the Terraform code. Everything we will study in the next session. Okay. So any questions from your end? Tomorrow you are having a session at 4 o'clock, guys. So don't miss that session. Any questions from your end? Any questions? What do you understand from the entire concept, and what are your, do you have, if you have any doubts, you can ask me now. Your turn. Last 5 minutes. You can ask me any questions.
Chaitanya, I am as a automation test engineer as of now. So how it will help me, these tools, in my testing and work skills for that?
Okay, in testing, you are writing the automation code, no? So whenever you are writing the automation code, they might be asking you to run the test with the Jenkins.
Yes, yes.
Did anybody ask you about that? So
Yes.
when they ask you, when they ask you to write the code, and you might be using JMeter, or else you might be using the Selenium, if I am not wrong, as a tester. So you might be running those with the automation, and then you are going to write a CI/CD pipeline for that. So there will be steps, no, stages will be there. This is the first stage where I have to understand the application, and then what you are going to do, you will be running certain tests on that application, no? What I can say, whether the login is happening or not, and as well as what are the details that has given is correct or not. So those tests you are going to write. So Jenkins will help you to automate the entire configuration. Okay, so and not only that, if you make any changes in that particular testing process, automation process, what is going to happen? If you make a slight change in the GitHub, automatically Jenkins will recognize, and it is going to modify the entire stages. That you will see when you go in detail about the Jenkins concept. And not only that, nowadays somebody are asking, I mean, every company is asking the candidates to have a pure knowledge about the Docker and Kubernetes. So if you learn Docker and Kubernetes also, that might be a very good handy tool for you, so that you can proceed ahead and you can understand what the DevOps engineers are doing in the real time. Okay, that's how this course might be helpful for you. Am I clear?
Yes.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, Hariharan, you want to ask something?
Yes, I understand what is you're saying that about Docker, Kubernetes, everything. I would like to know that when you explain the Docker, you show me some commands also. We will explore it more on the when you teach about Docker, right? All the commands.
All the commands I will provide you the complete what I can say, complete statements or also definitions for that. Okay, whatever we are learning, you will understand each and every command in detail.
Okay. Okay. Then cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I go. Any questions?
No, I'm good.
Thank you, Haran. Mohan, I think you have joined lately to the session, but any which ways, do you understand the process? Anything to say?
I'm good, Chaitanya.
Fine then. So that's about the concept of your Terraform and Docker. And from tomorrow onwards, we are going to start the Terraform. Don't miss the session. It will be very interesting, and it is an introduction session. So please don't miss it. And again, I am telling you one more thing. What are the prerequisites to learn this course? The prerequisites are understanding AWS. So you need to have the basic knowledge of AWS. Sir, I am having GCP knowledge or else any another cloud. That's okay. So no problem. Why? Because we are going with the AWS environment. Yeah, tell me, Igo, what's your question? Please type it on the chat box. I will try to answer that. GitLab, yeah, I understand that GitLab also. But again, telling you about the GitLab, it may take another 8 days. Why? Because I have to tell you about the GitLab and how we can push the code into the GitLab, and I need to tell you about the GitLab runners. So it's a little bit tricky process. Okay, so I will see if there is any possibility. I can tell you about that, but I'm not assuring you that I'm going to cover the GitLab. But as you asked me, so we need to cover so many topics in the GitLab. So I need to recheck that once. So if possible, I can start another session for GitHub, I mean GitLab. Okay, for the separate version control, I can start another session also if possible. Okay, yeah, understand that. Igo. Okay, let's see what I can do from my end. Okay, as of now for this particular batch, this is the basic things that I can do, and tomorrow onwards we'll start the Terraform. So I hope I made it very clear for all. And tomorrow will be the last demo, and then we will be joining tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and it might be extended up to 5:30 p.m. So be very patient for that 1.5 hours, and then from Monday onwards the session will start at 4:30 and it will end at 6 o'clock. Okay, so have a nice day, and we'll meet in the next session. Bye guys.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.